If you want to stay in the same situation, then continue doing what you're doing.
And you guys can get on board and go down this 4-lane highway and just rock it out, and you don't have to have a decade of learning process.
Meet people where they are. If you want to have all types of clients, be a Rubik's Cube. Meet them where they want to be met.
We have to know our numbers. We have to know how much we want, and then how many deals do I have to close to make that a reality?
What I want to do over the next half hour or so is give you clarity on the items that really are going to generate money for you and allow you to do the things you want to do.
So if you're not currently being coached by the people in the industry that are doing it at the highest level, then you're working too hard to get there.
This is the Next Level Loan Officers Podcast with Kenneth Travis and Sean Zalmanoff.
Hello, everybody. Kenneth Travis here with Next Level Loan Officers and my man, Sean Zalmanoff. What's up, Sean?
Good morning, y'all.
And man, we've got a special guest today, somebody that I've had the pleasure to speak with here for the last few minutes. And Jennifer, I do know a little bit about you because I did do some research prior to our time today, and found out something really, really awesome about you. And you're a gun enthusiast like me, and we share a lot in common in that regard. But you know what? I'm sitting here and I'm looking at your bio, and it's very impressive. Just all of the things that you've done for this industry, all of the knowledge that you've accumulated over the years, and just all of the awesome stuff that you're doing, the 5 businesses that you're running. You just got some really amazing things going on. And just for the record, she doesn't go by Jen, so I was just corrected moments ago. Jen, and why don't you share with us, okay, I can say it, I'm comfortable saying it, but why don't you pronounce your last name for us?
Du Plessis.
Du Plessis.
Think duplex. We're all in this business, right? Duplex. Du Plessis.
Du Plessis.
Yeah.
So
yep.
Jen du Plessis. And man, Jen, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for taking time with us today at Next Level Loan Officers, and in investing, back into the industry, and giving, willing to give and to share and to teach and to coach and to create and produce. It's really awesome to have somebody of your caliber on our podcast today.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the invitation. I love sharing. So, I'm an open book. Whatever you want to ask, let's get to it.
Yeah.
So Jen, you've been doing this for 35 years. You're quite a veteran in the business.
Yes, I'm one of the old ones.
Stayed on top for that long too, which is also impressive. What do you contribute your longevity to, and just being at the top of your game for such a long time?
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's not one thing that's a contributor to it. There's several things. As we were all just speaking before we went live here. Being ethical, I think that's huge. There are a lot of people in our industry that walk that line. And if you want any sustainability here in this industry, you need to be ethical, because it will come back to you. And so it's all about your brand, expanding your brand. And, that's super important to me. My reputation. I've been in my market, in the, DC, Maryland, Virginia market. It's called DMV. That's why I was having a hard time with the acronym for you. I've been in this market for, 28 years of my 35-year career. And you can't be in a market that long and burn too many bridges. So I would say that's one thing. The other thing is creating habits, as we were just talking about as well. You have to create habits. Here's a good way to say it. I know people in our industry, so let me ask you this. Are you a 10-1 loan officer? Now, we all know what a 10-1 is, right? A 10-1 arm. Are you a 10-1 loan officer? Are you a loan officer who's been in the business for 10 years, 1 year at a time, where you hit the reset button every year? Or are you someone who's been in the business for 10 years and your business is slowly doing this, over time? It's going up and you're building a great foundation. And I find a lot of people are just in it year after year after year. They love New Year's, right? But hate New Year's Day because they have to start all over again. So I think that's something, and I know we'll get to my book here in a second, but that's one of the things that I love. The best part about my book is the last chapter, which is the very smallest, which I say is, if we're in this industry, why aren't we accumulating properties? Because we're mortgaging properties. Why are we not accumulating properties? And I would say this about realtors too. Many of them don't have a lot of properties. And so we need to be accumulating properties. We need to be accumulating personal and professional growth year after year after year after year so that we can expand our business and grow it rather than just having it be a churning 1 year event. Does that make sense? And I'd say that's probably the biggest thing is I have long-term plans. They weren't ever just this year and next year. They were long-term plans for me.
Yeah. So you talk about creating habits, and I think that's really huge for us in this industry because habits are what takes us to that next level. It's what helps us break threshold. And creating a habit is the hardest thing. Once it's created, it becomes part of your life and becomes part of your daily routine. Then it's a lot easier to break threshold and be able to. When I say break threshold, I mean breaking that level that we always tend to, hit, and we don't grow. Yeah. I mean, when you can break it and you just keep doing that over the years, you're obviously going to see success. So creating habits, talk to me about blocking your time and time management, and how that works, because I know that you run 5 businesses. Sean and I have other businesses as well. And it's a common question that we get as well, but you're even further along up the river than what we are. What is it how do you manage your schedule? What does it look like to be able to get so much stuff done and then still be a rock star in the mortgage business?
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking. It's a good question. I'm trying to think back when I started some other businesses, and what happened. I think the first thing is, you mentioned about creating good habits to take you to the next threshold. The other thing is we have to be cognizant of the bad habits we have, and we have to break those down before we can create the good ones. So, it's sort of like the saying that, practice is perfect, right? We know that perfect practice makes perfect, not just practice. So we have to practice good habits. So I would first say to assess the bad habits. So if the bad habits are getting up late, right? There's a lot of loan officers who start their day at 10 o'clock in the morning. So getting up late is a bad habit. I would say recalibrate that and make it a good habit to get up earlier and do a checkup from the neck up. I subscribe to Hal Allred's I'm trying to think of it now. I don't know why I don't have the name. The Miracle Morning. I subscribe to that. Yeah. And so every morning I'm up and I'm doing savers, right? And some mornings I don't have the time to do the full savers for an hour. Sometimes it's shorter, but that's what I love about being able to do that. But I make sure I have a checkup from the neck up. I'm also mentored by Darren Hardy. And so I have it right here. I'll show it to you because I didn't plan to show it to you, but I might as well. So it's called Living Your Best Year Ever. And every single day I'm in, so here's today. By the way, I have some spiritual reading and whatnot here. But every day I'm in creating a rhythm of activities that will feed into my goals. And I have done this for 7 or 8 years now. So that I'm looking at my goals on a daily basis. And I think that's really critical. One, you have to create a business plan, and the other is you have to live it. It's a living, breathing document. It's not something you create and put on a shelf and then go back to next year and just sort of duplicate it. Again, that's that 10-1 mentality. And so it's like little, when you're driving down the road and you have those rumble strips that wake you up, when you kind of go offline, it goes brrr and wakes you up and you're, okay, I'm back online. This is a rumble strip for me. This is every day I'm making sure that I'm not drifting away from my goals. So it starts at a very high level, having a business plan, working your plan, having accountability factors somehow, some way, whether a coach or whether an accountability partner, or whether a combination of everything like I use with Living Your Best Year Ever. So it starts with that. The other thing, and so does that answer your question there? I'd like to add to that, but I want you to respond and see if there's anything you want to say there.
Yeah, Sean, if you don't mind, let me go first. It's so refreshing, man. I'm talking to you, Sean. It's so refreshing. You too, Jen, that you picked up your tablet and you said, I live day by day. And it's so funny because I have my tablet here and it's very similar to yours. And it's every single.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
Yeah, it's almost because we have to stay focused on what we're doing.
Yes.
And a lot of people, I think a lot of loan officers look and they say, oh, I want this end result in the next 12 months, but they don't work it. They just wait around. They never get around to it. And so in order for us to collapse time, we have to work we work in 90-day seasons, and we say, okay, what do I want my outcome to be in 90 days? And then I have a 30-day benchmark and a 60-day benchmark, but I work every single week. What's the one thing I have to do for today to push my business forward powerfully so I can hit those outcomes and those benchmarks and work it in a 90-day environment? Because I think what happens is they say, I want to make $250,000, but then they don't have a plan. Just writing a business plan or having a goal in mind isn't enough. You have to actually have some sort of a mechanism or accountability to get us there every single day, And so just to hear you say it and to hear you show it is just refreshing. So it's awesome to hear you say that. And I'm a big fan of Darren Hardy, by the way. I see him every day. Mom, he's awesome, and he's spirituality is important to me, and I create space every morning as well for spirituality or to invest into a relationship and create space for those things. And so there's a common theme here. And I think the common theme is successful people have a routine. They have a miracle morning. I'm up at 5:15, 5:30 every morning. Every morning. It's a non-negotiable, right? It's what I do.
Yeah, right.
And so it's just refreshing. And so that's a common theme with a lot of people who are successful in business and create space to have other businesses, right? But to your point earlier, it's also like you have to start. When I go back to the years I started, and of course I haven't been doing it as long as you. And by the way, you look fabulous. I didn't think you were a day or 4.
Thank you.
I started reading. Yeah.
Thank you.
I was 6 years old when you started in the business. So it's so.
Thanks.
Well, I mean, that wasn't a backhanded
It's okay. He does that all the time. He means well. He really does.
I really do. But
I know.
But I just think it's refreshing to hear, I guess. So did you want to add to that?
Well, thank you.
No, it is that we something that Kenneth and I do, and that we have our coaching clients do, and that I happen to have right here on my desk as well, is every week we plan our weekly business NRAs, the necessary required actions that we have. And so that's just even a further breakdown of what we talk about when we're breaking down our season into 30, 60, and 90-day increments, and then breaking down those weeks into what we have to do. So, I mean, very common theme that you're seeing here. And it's refreshing to see. As Kenneth was
it's a 12-week year, right? It's a 12-week year. That's basically what it is. Yeah.
And the reason that we do for those listening right now, when somebody usually drastically overestimates what they can get done in a year, and underestimates what they can do in 5. And so all of a sudden, you write down your goals in September, and, we shove them in the drawers and we don't look at it. And by breaking it down to that 12-week cycle, it forces it to be present in front of you every day.
Well, and again, that's why everybody always gets everything done at the last of the year. Everyone's production is really high in December because now they go, oh my gosh, this is what I have to do. So if you're using your plan, day in and day out, you're getting so much more accomplished. And it is kind of amazing because when you think about, even when I think about 35 years doing this, right, being in lending, and 20 years of that being in origination, the difference being in underwriting and sales management and sales training and whatnot. I think I know I have probably a 60-year career because of the way that I've compressed my time. And so, that accelerates your success. I mean, it truly does. And that's one of the reasons why I'm giving back now. I think that, in your life, you learn and then you earn and then you want to return, right? You want to give back. And the reason I'm in that return space is if I can compress for others my 35 years of experience into a 7 or 8 year period for them, then when they're 35 years in, they will be that much more successful than I am, And if I can do that for people, that's killer.
Your book launch, it came out last September, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Is that what your focus is on there and compressing time. You were teasing us with the last chapter earlier.
Yeah. The last chapter is just about, again, when I teach realtors too. And so when I'm teaching a class, I say, how many of you own a home? And, most of them raise their hand. How many of you own two? And most of them raise their hand. And then I say, well, is that a second home or is that an investment? It's a second home, right? And then how many of you own three or more? And the answer, all the hands come down. And so it's like, when a client says, is this a good time to buy? A realtor says, oh yeah, it's a really, really good time to buy. I'm not buying, but you should buy, right? It doesn't make any sense. So we need to be buying our own product. And that for us in our industry, we don't have government jobs, right? That is going to be our passive income, our retirement as we move along. And so that's why that was important. But the auspice of the whole book is broken down into 3 sections called Finder, Minder, and Grinder. We all play those roles, the finder of finding the business, the minder of the customer service, and then the grinding out of reports and flyers and social media and planning for an event and making a presentation. So we all have those positions. But as you progress in your practice, you eventually, something will come to the peak. What is your highest and best use? I call it the trifecta of success, doing what you love to do, what you're excellent at doing, and what makes financial sense for you as the team lead. And I know some people that their job is the minder as the team leader. They prefer to be in the files and minding the business and doing customer service. And they hire business development officers to go out and do the finding because they're great at relationships once they have them, but they're not that great at shaking people's hands, right? For me, I'm the finder. My highest and best use is out gallivanting. I haven't pulled credit in 15 years. I haven't run a DU or LP in God knows how long. I can read them, but I don't run them. I don't even know how to log in anymore. But that was my highest and best use. So what you do is you start growing your team to hire people to do the things that you're not good at, the things that are creating bottlenecks for your practice so that you continue to charge forward. So the book is broken out in finder activities, minder activities, and grinder activities with the hope that people aren't trying to change hats all day long, but rather block time to be an excellent finder and then block another time to take care of the business of the loans themselves, and certainly not doing any grinding activity during business hours. So that's really what it's all about. And it's very tactical. A lot of people know what they have to do, but they don't know exactly how. So this is a how-to book for each one of those.
That's just amazing. Like, I can't wait to read your book, Jen. It's a lot of the mindset things that people struggle with, and it's not just mindset. It's real in the mortgage business that there are a lot of originators out there that are working in their business and not on their business because they're bogged down with the minutia and the things that keep them from scaling their business. And a lot of it's done out of fear. They're fearful that if they stop doing these things, that they're not going to have realtors refer them business. They're not going to be able to get client referrals because no one can do it better than them. And it's just it's a terrible mentality to have, and to the things that we teach are very similar to that. We have a little bit different lingo, which is cool. Like, it's not any better or worse. It's just different. But like we've always had this mindset of like that 20% of what we do as originators generates 80% of our income, right? Which is like the networking, the person that's out there, doing those things that you just spoke about, and but 80% of what we do only generates 20% of our income. And so why are we not just focused on the things that serve us and to serve our families and to serve our business, and focus on the things that are the money making activities and outsource, like you said, those things, like pulling credit. And I'm the same as you. I haven't pulled credit in I don't know how long. I can read it, but I'd be sketchy on reading it, like, just to be honest about it. And a pre-qual, I could do a pre-qual if I had to, but I haven't done those things in so many years because I'm the face of the business, and I'm out there developing those relationships and bringing in that business a different way. And but I think I think that the main thing that keeps loan officers from seeing it, and I was the same way, right? And you may have been that way at some point.
We all were.
Yeah.
We all were, yeah.
Exactly right. So what do you think is the thing that a loan officer can do to break that threshold? Like, what do you think it is, from your perspective? Is any advice you could give anyone, to break that mindset or that bad habit that they can do?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I may have so.
You may have something too. Yeah. There's so many things. I mean, I'm just going to throw out a bunch of, if I can remember all of the things that as you were asking that question, I'm thinking, oh, this, that, and the other.
Exactly.
One is stop acting like a cat on a marble floor. You don't need everything and scramble and look chaotic and look too busy. I mean, busy. I feel sad for people who are too busy because, it's become this glorious thing to be busy, and I just feel sad for people who are busy because you're trying to live a quality life, but you don't have a life of quality. And there's a big difference between those two, right? So one's a cat on a marble floor. Two is, let your ego go. It's not you that they want. It's the experience you give them. And when you're not producing a lot and you can dedicate and devote all of your time to taking care of the business and creating that customer experience, once you hit a certain level, whether you know it or not, instead of providing 100%, working at 100%, you're now starting to work at 60% and 40%. And quite frankly, hiring someone else who doesn't do it perfect at 100% is certainly better. If they can do it at 80%, they're better than you trying to do it at 40%, right? And killing yourself and doing 70 hours a week. And, there was one month in my career, my highest month, somebody asked me this and I was like, God, what was that? I made $182,000 one month, right? Worst month of my life. I will never want that again, ever. I was unhappy. I was sick. I was fighting with my husband. I was just miserable. I was absolutely miserable. And there's no money in the world that's worth that. Okay. So that's the first thing is like slow down to speed up, take a step back, look at what your activities are to ensure that they are, like I said, if you love them, if you're great at them, and if it makes financial sense for you to do them. So don't meet a realtor just because somebody finally said they wanted to meet with you. Do some recon on the realtor. Find out if they really are someone you should be spending any time with. Then go in and do your second level and still decipher and filter. And from there, then make a decision whether or not you want to bring them into your circle. I would say, gosh, there's a gazillion things I could say about that. And then, obviously time management, which I still want to talk about, but yeah, time management and blocking your time.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really good answer. John, do you want to add something?
No, it's refreshing to hear somebody talk about all the things that we talk about. And one thing that we tell our friends, people who are seeking advice from us, and you hit it exactly on the head. And again, we just say things a little bit differently, but that you're just not as important as you think you are. And, you do the things that you're good at and you offload the rest. And that way, everything in your business can function at 80-90% without you. And you can just focus on what brings in the dollars and what you're good at and what you enjoy and what makes your life a 10 instead of it being a 2. And you make all this money and have no quality of life.
Yeah. So, Jen, something you said, Jen, that I really liked. It's not you that they want. It's the experience they want. I really like that. I may have to steal that if that's okay. And then you said,
that's okay, of course.
Yeah, and then you said slow down to speed up. Let me add one more thing to those awesome answers that you gave us. I think one of the challenges a lot of loan officers have is they fear hiring someone, right, because of the costs associated with it. And when you talk about sometimes you have to slow down, like sometimes you have to be willing to take a little bit less money for a short period of time for a long-term gain, right? So it's temporary pain for a long-term gain. And what you're doing is you're investing, right? And you're making a commitment really for only 90 days, because if the person doesn't work out, you can just start over and or find somebody else. You're making a commitment for 90 days.
Yeah. If you let them go.
Yeah. But people.
If you let them go instead of holding on to them. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But a lot of times people aren't willing to make that initial investment into their business, into their time, out of fear, right? And it's just, I just wanted to bring that point up, for anyone that's listening. Like, you have to get someone to help you, to get you out of those non-money making activities, out of that minutia, and take care of the things that aren't serving you well. And I think that's one of the biggest obstacles that a lot of them have. So.
Jen,
and I think, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was
going to say, when you're about ready to embark on that position, what's so hard about, or what I see a lot of loan officers doing is yes, it's out of fear, no question. They're afraid to bring them on. And first of all, you bring someone on who's going to make, $100,000, let's say, because, they're in it together. You're in it together with a base pay and some overrides and whatnot. You're not paying $100,000 today. You're it's growing over time. But before you bring them on, get your ducks in a row. Know who you want to hire. You can't just hire someone because you need a body and then try to figure out what their job is. You've got to have deep tranches on the roles and what they need to help you with. What to delegate, what's falling through the cracks, what don't you like to do, what's getting pushed aside and put on the back burner, all of those things, and then find the right person. And a lot of times what people do is that they do finger pointing, they were horrible, they were this, they didn't that. And really it's thumb pointing, was I prepared to bring this person on? That's why I said after 90 days, a lot of people let this go on and fester over a long period of time because they weren't prepared for them or had a strategic plan for the first 90 days on how to get them ingrained into their practice. So
no, that's perfect. That's an amazing point, that you're not paying them that $100,000. You're not paying them that salary for the year, but you have to own that mistake when you make it and hire the wrong person. So I know we've kept you a long time, but there is one more topic that you just mentioned that we really need to discuss, because it's been one of the big secrets to you being able to run 5 businesses and be as amazing as you are. So you were talking about time blocking. So what have you done to be so successful in your time blocking that it allows you to accomplish and do everything that you're doing?
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for asking that. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple stories here because I'm very visual. I'm very much a storyteller. So when you receive email every day, every email that you get is different. It's, can you come to the networking? Did you like the pay stub? The appraisal came in low. Hey, don't forget to pick up milk, yada, yada, yada. And it's just a big compilation of a lot of different things, right? So that's one of the issues that we have. And a lot of people tend to come into the office, turn on their computer, and they jump right in. So one thing is I use something called Sane Mail. I can't think of it because I have it all set up in my computer. So when emails come in, they're directed into Sane Later, Sane Tonight, Sane Saturday, so that I'm not looking at them right away. But I don't want to talk about emails. I want to talk about laundry. So why is it when we do laundry, and so you guys are guys, I'm sure if you're married, you've had to do laundry. Why is it when you do laundry, when the dryer is done, we take everything out of the dryer and we put it on a table and we fold it into neat little cute piles, right? We don't just take a towel, fold it, run it to a linen closet, come back, fold a shirt, run it upstairs, come back. And the reason we don't do that is because it's not efficient, right? But if you imagine email coming in just like a load of laundry, and you're going to pick and pick through each one of them, you're doing exactly that same thing. So what we need to do is we need to compartmentalize all of our email, compartmentalize all of our activities, and compartmentalize, in my case, and what you guys are saying, and for those that are listening and watching, if you have other businesses, you need to compartmentalize your businesses as well. So if you're going to price a loan, why wouldn't you price 10 loans at one time? You're logged in, just price them all. But what I see people doing is pricing a loan, logging out, then going back into their LOS, then going to LP, then coming back out of LP, then going back in and pricing the loan, then going, oh gosh, and it's just a waste of time. And if you think about Christmas cards. When you're doing Christmas cards, you write the first one. You say, "Hey, Aunt Sue, everything's lovely. We had a great year." Little hearts, and then you lick it, you stuff it, and you lick it, and you write it out, and you do all this. By the time you're at the fifth one, you're like, "We had a great year, love ya. We had a great year, love you." And then we do all of our letters, and we stuff, and then we lick, and then we pounce our little return on stamp on it, because it's more efficient to do them in compartmentalized bulk, lump, clump, whatever you want to call it, right? So I only do Finder activities in a clump of time, or a segmented, compressed time. And because I'm so efficient at it, and let's say, for example, it's phone calls. If I'm going to make prospecting phone calls, I need to just do them, knock them out, get them done. If I'm doing birthday videos to my clients, I do them twice a week. I knock them out, get them done, because I'm on a roll. For example, we're now here doing this. As soon as we're finished, I'm recording another 5 videos for myself, right? I'm here, I'm set up, I'm going to just time block. So it's looking at your time and not changing these hats all day long. It's be the finder in the morning, first thing, get it done with, be the finder. Have a huddle with your team so that you're aware of things that are going on, and then move right back into Finder again with appointments, networking, one-to-ones, luncheons, whatever classes you're teaching. And guess what? Customer service will be at the end of the day, because if you play everything else right, you don't receive the offense or the defensive phone calls of where's this, what's that, how come I haven't heard back, what's the status. Instead, you're initiating positive 2-minute offensive calls that put people at bay, that allow you to do your job. Yeah. Make sense?
Oh, absolutely. My language. I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's really what I've done, is just everything's time blocked, everything. And it's freeing. It's not capturing. It's not, people think time blocking. It's actually very freeing, because when you're done with activities in a block and you have more time, that's when you can do some of the peripheral activities, that aren't really in a segment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if I am someone that wants to read your book, what's the easiest way for me to get a copy of it?
Yeah, if you want a signed version, you have to get in touch with me personally. I'll sign it. But if you want just to go to Amazon, you can certainly go to Amazon. It's just Launch How to Take Your Business to New Heights. I wrote it in a manner, I am a lender, and it's for lenders. There's a real estate office up in Minnesota that bought 150 of them, because they're now using it for training and things like that. So use it for recruiting, use it for, if you're a loan officer, take it to a realtor and go through. Each chapter is about a page and a half to 2 pages long. So you could read it together and take action on it. I have actionable items at the end of each chapter. So you could take action items together to be accountability partners. So that's how you would do it.
I love it. I love it. Sean, do you have anything?
No, Jen, we really appreciate you joining us today. It's been such a pleasure to have you on here.
Yeah. Now, Jen, you're not taking on any new coaching clients, are you?
I am, but not very many. I think I only have 4 spots left. I was just saying something about that on a podcast. I've got 4 spots left. I don't have very many left right now. It's, again, time management, right? It's right. I only have a few spots.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate you being on the call today. If somebody wanted to reach out and contact you, how would they do that?
The best way would be to catch me on Facebook. I think that's the best thing. It's Jen du Plessis on Facebook currently. You could email me at and by the way, I'm a 1N Jen, Jen, Jen at kineticsparkconsulting.com, KINETIC, sparkconsulting.com.
Great. Well, we appreciate all of you watching and listening to us today. And of course, if you're looking for a strategy call to take your business to the next level, please don't hesitate and reach out to us so we can get you there.